can't have these banks' balance sheets that are investing in long-term bonds paying 2%. Meanwhile, they have to promise their investors and depositors 5 or 6%. The math doesn't work. So I think the American consumer is in a perilous position because at the end of the day, if something costs 7, 8, 10% more, go buy eggs at a grocery store. Meanwhile, their wage growth isn't 10%. Their money is literally eroding. And if you didn't have the FDIC, the Treasury, and the Fed Department save SVB, right, and then as well as Signature Bank, I think things would be a lot worse. It's like an EMT. You see a junkie on the side of the road, you give them Narcan to bring them back to life. Well, we just used 3 pens. How many more pens do we have for the rest of the banks? So I think there's going to be... Look what happened the last 2 weeks. Wall Street moves very fast and very rapid. So 2 weeks ago, there was an 80% chance we were going to have a 50 basis point rate hike. All of a sudden, we had the third biggest bailout in the history of our nation with SVB, $110 billion, and how quickly the tune changes.
And they won't admit that it's a bailout.
Yes, more or less, exactly. We had the core PCE number, which, as we all know, is the Fed preferred number. It came in hotter than expected. 4.6 versus 4.5 is what was expected. So the Fed's going to raise next week, in my mind, unequivocally. And I think there could even be another rate hike on the table down the road because inflation's tough to kill. So with the credit default swaps, they just went up 20%. And what a credit default swap is, it's almost an insurance policy to protect its bondholders. And guess what? That's writing on the wall. Yeah. That's a perilous position.
So you're still worried then about the banks?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think it's rainbows and butterflies. And for anyone to say any different is ludicrous. So I think at the end of the day, the American consumer has to be smarter. They have to dial back. And it's not, you don't want to be high on the dime during a recessionary time. So I think we're all experiencing that, whether it's large tech, small tech. And it bleeds out even beyond the tech sector. And there was an old adage. It went Tina. And I'm not talking my ex-girlfriend either. There was no alternatives. And then it went to Tita. Treasury is the alternative. Now we're starting to shift back, so it's a little bit of a seesaw. But I think at the end of the day, being in fundamentally sound companies, paying dividends and raising dividends are the right areas to be in. But I do like treasuries right now. I do like some risk-free alternatives.
Yeah.
We're one out of 3 nations that have never defaulted on our debt. It's Canada, Australia, and the U.S. And I don't know if you've been hearing this, but I've been hearing talk over the last few months. Oh, the dollar, we're going to lose our world's currency. Can you imagine how much lower off the pedestal we will be if we don't pass its debt ceiling? And aside from that, it would be financial contagion. So inflation's 5, 6, 7%. Wage growth is a few percent. Your money is literally eroding. So I saw that report from the San Fran Fed, and I would say this. It's an indicator of inflation, but it's not the most important indicator. You own a business, right? So you have labor costs, but you also have overhead costs, whether it's putting paper in the printer, which used to be $25 a bundle. Now it's $100 a bundle. So I would say that overall inflation gauge is a poor gauge. It's not my favorite. And I think PCE is the best. At the end of the day, I think NVIDIA is one of the best semiconductor companies in the world. Actually, in fact, history was made yesterday. It's the first company that's a semiconductor company that hit $1 trillion. But at these levels right now, I mean, we're not in the sky. We are in the stratosphere. It is literally, I have it right here, 40% above its 50-day moving average and 100% above its 200-day. Now,